What's up, everybody? We're back once again with another edition of Sunday Night Spotlight here on Wrestling Republic. I'm stoked to be back. Happy Sunday, everybody. It may not be Sunday for myself right now, but me and, I'm about to introduce him, the Tuesday Night Delight are hanging out. What's going on, Shadi?
What it do, bro? I'm good. This is one of my favorite shows of the week. I love talking pro wrestling. We got a two-man crew. Second two-man crew that we had in a row with the show. So hopefully, people will be back in attendance. But, I mean, it's good reason. Salute to Sis Megan. By the time this drops, she'll probably already have lost her voice because she's going to House of Glory that's happening tonight. Crazy card, by the way. Salute to them. And then, the homie Drizzy, I feel you, bro. Allergies are kicking my ass.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, by the way, it's no worries at all when it comes to this. That's why we've got the rotating cast. And I'm laughing. I'm like, by the time Megan loses her voice at House of Glory, Driz might have his back. But either way, we're here. Happy Sunday, everybody, from all of us here at Wrestling Republic. But let's spotlight some things. And out of the gates, I'm gonna spotlight one that, the tribal chief has been spotlighted a lot of times. The original tribal chief, the only tribal chief, whatever you'd like the O to stand for, that's who it is. It's Roman Reigns. And he's that dang good. We had a heck of a cage match at the Garden. And if you know anything about cage matches at the Garden, you'd be thinking snuck off the cage and all the history and all of that, everything that goes with inside of a steel cage at MSG. And guess who stole the show? Neither of the combatants. It wasn't Punk. It wasn't Rollins. It was the original tribal chief, the OTC. It was Roman Reigns, and it was his return. I'm stoked about it, man. That's why I want to stop and spotlight it. There you go. That was a nice save. I want to spotlight this one in particular, though, because Roman, this new run, after being so dominant, after being the tribal chief, after being acknowledge me, after all of that, he's exactly where we always wanted him to be, because you're just excited to see him. And there is brilliance to that in my eyes, Shad. It's something that's so impressive to me. I was stoked to have him back. I'm not saying he overshadowed Punk and Rollins. We obviously saw some storytelling there when it came to, Punk and Heyman and Seth's involvement, all of this. But I wanted to highlight Roman and his return because it stole the show. It was the spectacle that a Madison Square Garden show is supposed to be in my eyes. And that is hard to do all the time, but they got it once again. I was stoked about it. What were your thoughts on it?
Man, I got to preface and say this. In professional wrestling, I feel like what got you and I into the sport so much is the fact that we were so attached to superstars. People like The Rock, people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, people like the Heartbreak Kid. They were just larger than life figures, and they were so damn cool. I remember growing up, I used to just love to think that The Rock was the coolest person in the world, or Stone Cold was the coolest person in the world. And, going into where we are now in pro wrestling, I feel like we have those, but we're still earning for the person that can kind of take us back to that moment in time. And Roman Reigns is that. He's definitely that. He is a larger than life figure. He's got the charisma. He's got the cool factor to him. He kind of held down professional wrestling on a mainstream market for 5 years during the toughest time to distribute, products because we didn't have fans and whatnot. I mean, the guy is just out of this world. And I think it's one of those cases where when you don't have him for a little bit and you get him, then you kind of see him back, you're like, damn, I missed this so much, Like
it's bizarre how it worked out. Because, think about it. He was on the worse than John Cena track, who we'll get to later in this show. Yeah. But he's getting booed as a babyface in times where you should not be getting booed as a babyface.
Right.
And just a switch was flipped. Something changed, and we all saw it happen. And I love people trying to do it was Paul Heyman, it was this, it was that, or the other. No, he captured our imagination over a 5-year stretch in a way we have not seen in decades. And he didn't do it just once. He did it over and over and over and over again and continues to do it. And that is so impressive to me because, and I'm not trying to be overly critical of Cody because I know everybody knows my history making fun of Cody Rhodes and everything.
Do it because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, Cody's the black cloud above him is always going to be Roman Reigns.
And where when it comes to Cody, right? Finish the story implies, something's over. And so we have to start anew. I don't know that story's actually fully over. I really don't, because as much as it's 1-1.
Good point. You're totally right.
And
think about it like this. What is the term finish the story? And this is going to be real. And I think this might kind of align to what you think, and it might ruffle some feathers because I like Cody a lot. What does finish the story mean more to? Is it about Cody's triumphant babyface story, or is it really the heel, the bad guy, right? Is it more about the bad guy that has created this story more than anything? And to that point, if anybody can be displayed within that story as a hot babyface, who's to say they wouldn't have the same, momentum as Cody had? Like, that's just honest. It's to me, it's more so the larger than life figure that was the tribal chief more than Cody being the big time babyface. Like, I don't want to discredit him at all because I think he does very well in the role, and I think he's a great babyface. And these guys have a lot of trust in him. They've given him, I said it in a show before, Cody Rhodes' booking is very most of the calendar year, but come Mania season, they pull that joint in a full first gear. Last year, The Rock came in, added the whole element to the story and finishing the story of Roman. Prior to that, losing to Roman, trying to one up and beat Roman and be the one to dethrone the tribal chief. Like, they give him the hot storylines, but a lot of it is they have to soup up big time villains for it.
Well, and that's the thing is I almost want to save this for our third segment because I think it's really fun conversation we can have for a long time because my thoughts are on the exact same page as you. The big bad guy last year was The Rock and Roman. I don't know if John Cena, even how great the heel turn is a bigger mountain to climb. I don't know that that's the case. I don't think that that's the case.
We'll talk. We'll talk about it in the third topic because
let's save that for the third topic.
Because I think I might say something that might bother more people on that too. Because I actually agree with you 100% on that.
Awesome. Okay, so let's highlight your next topic. Here, give me 1 second. Let me get the graphic changed and dial you up on this one. I'm lacking in production here, but Shadi, we've got Kylie Ray. We watched her yesterday, Maple Leaf Pro. Your highlight of the week. Let's talk about it.
Smiley Kylie. This is my highlight of the week. This woman has put in a lot of groundbreaking work, in my humble opinion. This is someone who I've been following base with for quite a while now. If y'all don't remember, she was one of the first women's wrestlers signed to the AEW roster. Had to leave for specific reasons. Was out of wrestling. Obviously, had the wonderful story of being a mother, and was out of wrestling from that point too. But his return back into the world of pro wrestling and has been killing it in the independent circle. She's also done amazing work in TNA back in the days as well. But coming back in, and I think she's really starting to hit a stride and being a star that she's always been. This specific week, I want to give her the highlight because I saw two great matches of hers. Last night, we watched her wrestle on the first night, and she does wrestle tonight too. So I don't know what the result's going to be. She may have pulled out 2 wins in a row this weekend, but had an incredible showing against Zoe Sager. We really enjoyed that match a lot within this tournament that happened at Maple Leaf Pro, but also WWE Evolve. She is a WWE ID talent. Her and Zara Zucker had a phenomenal bout. And, came out with an L, but still, she displays why she's great. Her character work is so bubbly, so happy go loving. Reminds me a little bit of like the Hugger Bailey in a
Bailey.
sense. But yo, she can wrestle. Like when her in ring, technical performance is so good. Has a great ground game. Can strike like hell too. And all does it with a pretty smile on her face, like the big bow and all. It's so dope to see, man.
When I was gonna say, it's March, and you and I are both hoops fans. Like
Mhm.
where are the underrated chants? Because Kylie's been around for a while, man. Like for her to
Sure.
be an ID talent, like Kylie's been on the radar for quite some time at this stage of her career, and I mean, she deserves to not only be spotlighted on this show, but be spotlighted in the ring all the time. Because, like you said, bell to bell, her in-ring acumen is pretty much, I don't want to say unparalleled, but it's as good as anybody in the game, especially at the stage that she's at. She's got the character work down. The look is perfect. Excuse me. Everything else just needs to fall into place as far as contracts and whatnot. And like, as
She's
soon as
someone
she
that
gets a
would
shot,
do good
she's
in
going to ride with it.
NXT. She do so well in NXT if given the opportunity. I don't even I don't. The Evolve show is the Evolve show. They got their vision for it. I see what they're trying to do. But I look at her, I can see her doing well on NXT, especially the fact that I think NXT could use some more baby faces on the women's side.
Yeah.
Especially now that they're kind of they're turning Kalani a little bit of a heel. Roxanne is probably gonna leave, but she turned heel. A person like a Kylie Ray, being in there, being a big time babyface and feuding with the likes of a Jada Parker, feuding with the likes of like a Nikita Lyons, people like there. I think she could really thrive being that underdog, like you just mentioned, off of a character aspect, not even just the fact that she's an underdog in the profession, but just the character earns underdog.
Well, and to your point, we're not allowed to say moveset anymore because of CM Punk, but her
Oh yeah,
moveset
she from
lends
Chicago
to
too.
fighting from underneath, right?
Yeah.
She's the perfect babyface in that sense. She sells moves off the charts. She can work with pretty much any style. I think Kylie Ray.
The match last night, bro, we were
Yes.
her opponent had a very strong ground game, had was dominating a lot of the fight, and you keep you lose your eyesight for a quick second. Kylie comes out 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
Best finish in the world, right? Your favorite finish, the small package.
The small package. Well, you remember Bryan Danielson up in Aberdeen, Washington. They call him Mr. Small Package.
Yeah.
The guy invented the game when it comes to small packages. He's as good as they come. But Kylie has a great small package herself. There's no doubt about that. But let's move on to the next topic here.
Yeah,
let's talk about
this topic deserves, because we have a lot to cover on this. So I think we can kind of really unpack this for the rest of this show, to be real with you.
Yeah. You might get a highlight of the week. You might even not. We'll see. I'm kidding. No, but
you want to start with so we should probably start with what we know is announced, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with, let's be respectful. We're gentlemen here. And obviously the topic that has gone buck wild this week is the women should be main eventing matches and cards and whatnot, right? That's been a hot topic, but I kind of want to talk about something that happened on Monday first, because I think this is the hotter women's matchup, and I think it's something that you and I are both happy about, because our EST is finally back in the main title picture, right? She won the Elimination Chamber, and she's got her ticket booked for WrestleMania. She is going to go against a Miss Io Sky, who got a crazy victory a couple weeks against Rhea Ripley. I mean, bro, what do we think? We thinking it might be a triple threat match going into it. I feel like all signs are pointing to that, even though at the moment it is Io versus Bianca.
It feels very triple threatish to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because obviously
Because it looks like they're gearing for 2 triple threat matches, right?
Well, that's where I think I'm hoping it's one. Because there's one I've been highly critical of on this very platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that this is the triple threat match because it makes sense. There's a title.
Right.
It makes sense that Bianca and Ripley and Sky would all be on this stage. The other triple threat match you're talking about, not so fast, my friend, in the words of the great Lee Corso. No.
Got you.
But for me, this is the triple threat match we need to book. This one makes the most sense. Bianca, ever so close to turning heel. Talk about a juxtaposition for her to turn heel. The crowd is behind Rhea Ripley as much as anybody in the women's division. Io Sky, the crowd's kind of there too. Somebody's got to break the back there. Somebody's got to mess something up. And if it's going to be anyone, it's Bianca's time. And that time, in my eyes, is at Mania. Get us there. If we're going to have anything going in where it's a little like, ooh, we're not sure, give us Bianca's big moment where we really find out she's a bad guy. I'm all over that. That's my prediction. It's not a spoiler because I don't know the answer. But I'm just saying.
I like
that's
the
what
idea.
I'm thinking.
I like the idea of it. I like the idea, the fact that it might sound like some hating stuff, and I swear it's not hating. I don't think Rhea should win at Mania at all.
More.
I don't think she needs the title this quickly again. I actually think Rhea needs to be away from the title for a little bit of time for her own benefit, because we're starting to look at Rhea in the Charlotte Flair island of, yo, does she always have to be around the belt type of situation, right?
I'm not even trying to take away from that too, Sean, but I've thought about that. And it's weird because I'm on the same page. It's like, does she always have to be around the title? Is that the scoop? But then we kind of tried that with Judgment Day. We kept her away for like a long time.
That's
right.
true.
It was like, oh, she's involved and she's not really wrestling women's matches. And I'm wondering if it's a Rhea Ripley problem or if it's like
it's weird. I feel like they don't know how to book her world title reigns at all, dude. Like, all of her world title reigns are like super flat, and like they give her the same mix of opponents going into it, rather like, except then when you got her trying to come up for the title, it's always nice and fresh. Where I think the fact that, one, if Io retained, I wouldn't be mad at it, just because it makes sense that these two are so far up the head into something else that Io is just the only one who's got a clear space. And logically, she should win that way. But what you just said, for two reasons. One, Bianca winning and it being in heel tactics can make a big time moment for WrestleMania. And two, I think Bianca's WrestleMania streak is a coveted one that should matter. Okay? They screwed us over with the Undertaker one with Brock. Let's not kill Bianca's Mania streak so quickly. I feel like there's a lot of merit to it. She is probably the best person that flaunts that you can't spell WrestleMania without the EST and that undefeated streak. I think the fact that she also flexes that and lets you know that it is a thing is important. But her winning in a heel tactic, like, that would be crazy. And you open the door for, what if she did mess over Jade? Jade and Bianca, that needs to be for a title. I don't care what nobody says. That's not a look. I'm tired of all of y'all.
That's Ali Frazier.
I don't care what y'all say online. Jade Cargill can be in a title match.
100%.
She had the best women's. She had the best women's title reign in AEW history at any women. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I don't care if you guys don't love all the matches within it. She went in, closed shop, and got the job done, and had all those matches with victories. Like, that's how you book. And she looked amazing in all of it. So that woman deserves
100%.
like this whole notion. Well, she like all these. Obviously, I'm not even going to acknowledge the BS stuff that people are talking on the rumor mill, right? But the fact that people like, she should have went to NXT. which I have no problem with because NXT is where the best women wrestle. But like you're saying that as a way that she needs to learn how to do her job, get out of here.
No way, no way. And I was going to say cheap plug here, but what comes after the WR in WrestleMania? EST. That's what's up. We got him. Someone write that down. Make that a t-shirt. Ben, trademark it. We got it. What comes after the WR in WrestleMania? EST. I agree. I agree with you about the streak.
No, for
100%.
So the next thing that we got, we'll talk about it briefly because I know we want to get to the meat and potatoes. Yeah. This Jey Uso and Gunther thing, because I'm very curious to see what you got to think about that, because I haven't heard your take on the because that's been a hot topic after last night. Everyone is saying that well, Gunther's gonna have all these matches with people. Like, he wrestled a salute to Axiom, by the way, fire match last night. But yes, everyone is like, Jey Uso can't do that.
I would disagree with that wholeheartedly. Here's what my thoughts are on it. I only have one problem with the whole thing. I love the callback on the main event Jey Uso thing. I loved when they called it main event Jey Uso. I thought that was awesome. I don't think this is the main event of either night. It should be the opener of one of the two nights. So we got to stop putting main event on t-shirts. Like, give us Yeet and like the event, or change it up slightly. Anything, right? Yeet event, whatever. But I don't think it's the main event either night. I do believe Jey Uso can go toe to toe with Gunther the same way that Axiom just did, the same way anybody else is about to, and put on one heck of a match. And I think it should be the opener one of the two nights. And I think Jey Uso should go over and win the title. That's my current belief, and I'm sticking to it.
My bad, I hit mute. I totally agree. I think, you know what the issue is, man? I think sometimes we gotta like appreciate each company for what they are, and we have to understand that man is a larger than life figure to a mainstream wrestling fan base. Like, that guy is getting those reactions because he's earned those reactions. Okay, not anybody can just instantly. There's not a switch in an arena that makes fans just move their arms up and down, saying his slogan and chanting and cheering hysterically for him. He has earned that, people. So, yes, I agree 100%. As much as I love Gunther and think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, right?
Jake can
hang. He's been doing this in the WWE longer than Gunther. Okay.
I also hate to say this. There's this
also
wrestling...
another thing. These two guys right now, if their career stopped right now, one of them would be a Hall of Famer, and it's not Gunther. It's Jey Uso.
Correct. That's exactly where I was going. I was about to say, there's another thing, and I hate to call out people, but there's like a wrestling nerddom when it comes to Gunther. As great as he is, I love him to death. But the same people that go like, so-and-so's not a draw, are like, well, Gunther's the best thing since sliced bread. He's a guy in generic tights that says he's good at wrestling. Right? This is Bruno Sammartino in an Austrian bodysuit.
We've had a lot of those in our time.
Yeah, he's not Captain Charisma by any means. He's not. He's not the guy you leave the show and talk to your friends about. He's not the guy you're like, did you just hear that? What that Gunther guy said on the mic? No, he's not. You might be like, oh, that was a big power bomb or a big clothesline, whatever have you. And there's place for him in professional wrestling, but he is not the best thing since sliced bread. He's awesome. I think he's great bell to bell. I think he's excellent bell to bell. The ring general or whatever you like to say. You make the G into a Y, but whatever. Like, at the end of the day, Jey Uso, like you said, is the Hall of Famer of the two. He is the superstar of the two. He's the one whose merch sold out of the two at the Royal Rumble. They didn't even sell Gunther's merch at the Rumble. And then I get people come back with like, oh, he's a heel and stuff or whatever. They sold plenty of Roman Reigns heel merch when he was at the top of the card, carrying a very similar title belt. Actually, technically, the one that had to spawn off into the one that Gunther's carrying. He was carrying that one at the time, selling tons of merch as the top heel. Nobody's out there buying a Gunther ring General shirt, right? You're not getting one of those. Nobody bought those. You're buying the Yeet shirts. So as good as Gunther is in the ring, like the same people that like to do the like so and so's not a draw, or in AEW they don't draw. Like Gunther's never drawn anything outside of a coloring book. Like, what are we talking about?
God.
Like,
hey, bro, I'm not disagreeing with you. Even like you want to make that correlation to guys who are just like great in-ring wrestlers. If you want to even go to AEW, I've gone to many AEW shows. Will Ospreay's shirts, jerseys,
yes, bro, they're flying off the shelf.
Hotcakes. Yeah, bro. Like everyone is
bad guy, good guy, don't matter.
Yeah, he's got the most sold merch. So there's a like I don't want to be that guy too, but like, you know, it's like saying like Dean Malenko is gonna freaking outdraw.
Yeah.
like,
well, it's not about that Gunther's no good, and people will misconstrue this as me saying Gunther's not a draw. I hate people that say draw. I'm making fun of the people that sit here and go like, well, Gunther, he's the best. You know, he's so good in ring. And then they turn around and they're like, well, you know, MJF's not a draw. He doesn't draw any money or whatever. And I'm like, Gunther doesn't draw anything in pen ever.
Yeah,
like he's not an artist.
But the other thing is this too. Like, where's the misconception that like Jey Uso has never like been able to wrestle before? Like, I don't understand that at all.
The guy bell to bell has put on absolute classics his entire career. Not only that, like arguably, let's go back and think about, you know what? We've got a little time here for a second. Let's go back and think about Roman Reigns' reign. Who was his best opponent? Jey Uso by miles. Exactly. There's really no argument. Mm-hmm. Those two matches between the audio, the just the verbal assault,
epitome of storytelling in a match,
unfreaking believable during a time when you don't talk about adapting on the fly. Mm-hmm. So we don't have fans. How do we make people move the same way they normally do during a wrestling match? How about we turn up the in-ring mics? Who can trust each other? Family members. Who can actually pull that off? Family members. It takes two to tango, and Jey Uso was the perfect dance partner, not once, but 2 times during that era.
And Roman would tell you the same thing too.
Absolutely. Right? He has more than earned this opportunity. But anyway, speaking of Roman, is that where we're going next?
Yeah, let's go there. Okay. Because then we'll get to because then we got a couple more after that. But let's get to that one because I think
we eventually got to do Cena Rhodes at some stage here.
Yeah. And then Tiffany and Flair, I think too.
Yeah, we'll squeeze that between. We have to end with Cena Rhodes.
This one's important right here.
This one bothers me though. Why in the wide world of sports? Thank you. It's a quote. What in the wide world of sports are we doing here? 3 guys. So we have 3 dudes. We have 3 of the peak of the industry. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. And they're going to fight each other. And one person is going to lose. And the other will also lose without being involved in the finish. And we're all okay with that. And they're all okay with that. And that somehow makes sense at WrestleMania. What? No. Stop trying to cut corners. Stop doing this. I hate this. I hate everything. I love triple threat matches more than anybody you know. I assure you. It's one of my absolute favorite match types that exists. But please not this. Why? There's nothing that they're fighting for. So tell me right now, if the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, goes out there and guess what? He pins CM Punk. Who's his next logical opponent? Oh, I guess Seth Rollins because he wasn't involved in the finish. Or is Seth Rollins Punk's next opponent? I don't know. But who cares? And if he stacks them both, then stop it. We don't want that back anyway. We got that once and it was great when it happened. He sent them both to AEW. Ask him about it. It was Daniel Bryan and Edge. If you start doing the math. But please do not book a 3-way match between 3 guys that hate each other. How can you settle a blood feud amongst 3 dudes that hate each other without the one-on-one feuds being settled? This isn't a title feud. This isn't for the Ulafala. This is the blood feud. They can't stand each other. All three. They cannot physically possibly settle that if they're all in the ring at once. It's not possible. It bothers me. Everything about it bothers me. And I know I sound like I'm complaining and like I'm being a curmudgeon and it's going to bug people, but that is what it is. It just bugs me to death, Shad.
So it's Gunther's fault again. It is Gunther's fault again. It's the fact that he has that title. I think Punk should have won the title off of him before then, and we should have gotten Punk being the world or Seth, one of the two should have been champion here, and that could have kind of, made that title matter more. Not to swear, I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but it could have been that way. And I think I'm going to be a hypocrite because I'm probably going to enjoy the match when it happens and it's announced. But I do think logistically, this is going to be night one of the Mania main events, right? It's hard to argue win it just because you have Roman Reigns, you have CM Punk, you have Seth Rollins, and then you look at everybody else on the card. Nobody holds weight to those three in a match. But to your point, the fact that there isn't a stipulation, a reason for it, it should technically be 2 world title matches, main eventing night 1, main eventing night 2. And that's where it does kind of draw a little bit of confusion. And look, man, I know what they're doing. WWE loves to book kind of on the, when you're against the odds sometimes, right? And it's more so that this is Vegas, this is Mania. We got to have our big dogs. But as a fan who, watches this all the time, you're like, come on, man, do a little bit better.
Well, I mean, it's like, the UFC voice, fellow TKO, when he introduces a fight, it's like, how do you do this one? It's like 3 men, all near the top of the card. Mm-hmm. All world title contenders will decide which of the 3 is the best on this night one. Of like, what? What do you mean? Like, what are they fighting for? It's like pride? Like, I'm better than you two at once? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whoever doesn't get pinned is immediately like, well, I wasn't in, but I never got pinned. Like, how is you know what I mean? It's like, how do you even advertise this? Like, on one night in Las Vegas, we have 3 men who really don't like each other, and they will find out which of the 3 stands tall at the end of night 1 of WrestleMania. Like, how do you even advertise it?
It's there's gotta it's a little difficult. I ain't gonna lie.
Right? Like, there are no titles on the line. Titles are not necessary tonight. These guys just don't like each other.
And they're gonna rely on Paul to try to connect the dots with the Punk and Roman. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, I mean, it was tough because, like, I would like to just see Roman. If it is a one-on-one, I would like to see Roman have a one-on-one with either of these 2 dudes. Like, I don't want to see Seth and Punk wrestle one-on-one anymore just because I think we've kind of beat that drum to a bloody pulp.
So we need to talk about the next match because I was waiting to reveal my idea on the daily, but I just made the executive decision I'm going to do it on Sunday Night Spotlight. So if you've hung with us this far, and you've heard me complain, whether it be about Cody and Cena or about the triple threat for nothing, I'm going to present the only solution that me and my little itty bitty brain could come up with. But first, we have to discuss Charlotte and Tiffy time. So Shoddy, talk to me about Charlotte and Tiffy time.
This storyline hurts me so much because it's been putrid. It's been so bad. They don't have a decisive character for Tiffany or Charlotte going into it. Charlotte came back with the thought process of being a babyface. She's talking about the initial adversity that she had to go through, and she got heat from it. And then they had to kind of call an audible for her. Tiffany is a cocky, arrogant character, right? But she had the babyface overcoming against Nia, but she doesn't have a comfortability being a natural babyface. And then you talk about the build of the feud. It's just them, Charlotte getting one leg up on her. That's the entirety of it until last night. Now, last night it became a little bit more physical and whatnot, but I'm going to be real with you. I think Charlotte Flair has a big inability to lead storylines and
I
lead
thought last night
feuds.
was the highlight somehow, and it wasn't that big of a highlight.
Wasn't that big of a highlight at all.
Right?
It was.
No, it was like, I thought that was the best thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wait, but this is a Mania title feud.
And the issue I have with it is this, man. Like, if Tiffany loses at Mania, it really kicks her off of a pedestal on the main event scene for the women's division. Like, now she's got to really go into like that mid-card intercontinental United States picture, which I think is not good in a way because you built her up so much to this and she's so over. But if she does win, where do you go from there? Because you have to kind of lead the division. I don't know if either of these women can honestly, at this current juncture of time, lead the SmackDown women's division as world champion.
So that's where first off, I'm in 100% agreement. And what sucks about this is, you know what it feels like, though, is it feels like Tiffany's not the champion. It feels like Charlotte's the champion.
She feels like the underdog.
And which is fine. Mm-hmm. But like the representation of the title, like I have what you want, just hasn't been shown. No. It feels like Charlotte already assumes she's won it.
And the thing is this, like she has abilities to sell you. Like last week, she had the little promo exchange with B-Fab.
Right.
And that felt like an actual story.
It was legit.
Yeah, and then they had a good match last night. And like
then it's over.
And then it's over now, right? So I don't know what it is. For like honestly, I don't. It's like I feel like WWE booked this because aesthetically it looked like something we wanted because it's like I don't know. It's the future versus the past, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's the
present.
Yeah.
Present versus the future, whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a passing of the torch type of moment, but then it's not because it seems like Charlotte Flair is like well into like on her LeBron James. Like I'm not leaving until I'm leaving. So count me for all the title reigns, all the awards because I want to stack my resume as much as I can.
100%. Okay, let's talk Cena, Cody.
Let's get it.
Because I got my idea. So we've got Cena and Cody. I loved the heel turn. Obviously, I love the heel turn.
Sure.
I'm excited about it. But you know what I'm also going to do? Like I mentioned before, I'm going to reveal on this show the only way we solve this. But I'm also going to blame one Phil Brooks. This is your fault, CM Punk. This is telegraphed, and it's your fault. Because this entire time, you forced me. You forced my hand. You've made me complain about this 3 ways for nothing. This 3 ways for nothing. This 3 ways for nothing. You and Rollins and Roman, and I don't care. Well, guess what? Now I get it. You and your stupid favor, one of you 3, is going to get into this match with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and I see right through it. I know it. You telegraphing mother flipper. I know it. I know that this is how it goes down. And that is not a spoiler. That is a prediction, Paul Heyman. So, take that. That's a prediction. Dude, there's only one way there. That's how you solve everything. Punk uses his favor. The winner of the 3-way becomes the 3rd in the Cody and John Cena match. And now you can put on an absolute all-timer. Triple threat for triple threat. That's how we do this. I get it now. Finally, I woke up and I get it. But dang it, why'd you have to make it such low-hanging fruit? I wanted you to fake me out. But I'm pretty confident that's how this is going down, Shad. What are your thoughts?
So 3 triple threats in totality for WrestleMania.
That's what I'm kind of thinking.
A triple threat.
3 times 3 is 9.
I don't mind it. I think it's a good way to pivot it. It gives you a purpose for the match. It connects the dots for what Heyman wants to do. I don't mind it. I mean, look, if that's the case, I think Punk would have to win the match just because he's the one that's kind of connected to the hip, close to the whole Cena dynamic. And I feel like he's the perfect anti-hero. I mean, all three of them could be perfect anti-heroes, honestly, within that match. That's the beauty of all three characters. They kind of are on the fence of being baby faces, but also being heels. But I think Punk adds the draw to it because him and Cena got such rich history we can go back to. But I mean, obviously that's a hell of a prediction. But going into like the build for Cena and Cody, I'm gonna be real with you, man. I think we're kind of like just living off of the high of Cena for the last few weeks of what it happened because like there hasn't really been much of a build to it. They kind of just throw Cody out there to get the music playing and people to hit the woes, and then he just talks a little bit. You know, he hit
Whoa.
Miz with the crossroads last night. Um, this is what gets difficult, man, and this is what gets difficult if Cena does win the title, bro. Because
Sorry, I
like
load.
I know, I heard it. Cena not gonna be here that much, right? He's here, but like he's not really here, you know. And
That's what I'm
like,
thinking.
how do you? It's hard to have a champion who's
I'm,
not really here that much.
I'm mad at myself. I said some wild stuff. I said I wouldn't watch Cody versus John. Now I have to because it's heel versus babyface, but I said I wouldn't watch it. And also, the best thing then, Shad, would be if it's a triple threat, get out of jail free, Clark.
Yeah,
Am I wrong there? Also,
Punk wins.
stone left unturned when you said 3 triple threats. How did I not say 3 sevens? It's Vegas jackpot.
Vegas. That's a
What
good
was
point.
I thinking?
That's a good
What
point.
was I
And you know
thinking?
what? The thing is this though. I think we will have a lot of multi-people matches just because of the playoff of it being in Vegas. I could see the tag team match for the SmackDown title be like a fatal four-way ladder match between the Street Profits, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and Pretty Deadly, right? You could do
Yes.
that. Or five, you could throw the Garza brothers in there too, honestly, to make that a five man ladder match. You talk about the IC title, like Braun Breaker feuding with like 3 or 4 dudes, right? So that could be a ladder match or like some sort of match for that. I mean, bro, there's a lot of ways you
So much
can
good stuff.
book, and that's the interesting thing that WWE is doing with this is that there is a lot of like revolving doors of what can happen. My only thing to fans is like just be patient and wait to see what happens because
It's
I
gonna
think
work.
sometimes when you try to when you think you know what your fantasy booking is and it doesn't happen, then you kind of throw a little bit of a sour taste on what's presented.
Oh, I
You know?
agree. And I'm not like that either.
No,
I'm
I'm not
more
saying
just
you
like,
are. I'm
yeah,
saying
no, but
people in general.
I'm like, no, I could not agree more with where you're coming from there. I think that's the key. They're going to give us something excellent. This is a huge
Yeah,
mania at a huge arena. But let's do our highlights of the week and go home, Shuddy.
yeah.
Because you know what? I was going to ask another question about Mania 41, and I'm like, let's save that. There's a lot more time.
You got a minute.
Highlight of the week wise, I'm going to go here. I don't know if it counts, but I attended AEW Revolution on Sunday, a week ago. If you're watching this, a crypto arena. That crowd was packed to the gills, loud as could be for 4 straight hours, and it was awesome. Los Angeles, monster shout out. What a great crowd. What a great town for wrestling there. And what a great show. Yeah, the main event wasn't the greatest of all time or whatever, but the vibe coming out of that show was off the charts. AEW continues to deliver in the pay per view scene. I loved it, and I just appreciated it. That's my highlight of the week. Shotty, how about you?
I want to make my highlight of the week more so a highlight of the month. And this is a highlight of the holy month of Ramadan. I am Muslim. I also practice Ramadan. And I want to give my spotlight highlight to all the Muslim brothers and sisters that are in the world of professional wrestling, the world of any other sports as well. But obviously, we are a wrestling platform. I want to commend y'all. I'm talking about Mustafa Ali, who wrestled last night at TNA against Santana, um, and had an absolute classic. Also hurt his jaw in the match, right? I'm talking about Sami Zayn giving us a classic match with a Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber. I'm talking about a Miss Zeta Steel who wrestles every weekend in the Independence, also works Evolve shows. I'm talking about Queen Aminata who wrestles on Collisions, on Ring of Honors. All of these wrestlers doing it while they're fasting, man. Tired, fatigued, and all that, but still giving us high quality matches, giving us high quality programming, man. And like, there's so many, many more that I'm obviously forgetting, but like, it's such a commendable thing to do, man. And I weave through it just working the 9 to 5, handling everyday business. But I couldn't imagine, not eating the entire day, not having the nourishments that you have, but having the nourishments of the peace and tranquility that you're doing and the purpose that you're doing it for within your faith, man. It goes the long distance. So salute to them, man. May Allah bless all you brothers and sisters with a good holy month of Ramadan. Inshallah, may He accept all your fasts. But I had to do that because I found it really important, man.
I think it is too. And by the way, I want to add extra spotlight. I want to spotlight you too, man, for showing up for the fans and everything. Do all these shows, obviously during the holy month like this and everything. I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible what you said and everything. And like, man, yeah, blows me away. Not to get all choked up here at the end, but seriously,
appreciate that, bro.
Mad love, absolutely, 100%. And it's something that's important to note. And if you hadn't done it already, you heard it here first. You absolutely should. But with that will bring us to the end of today's Sunday Spotlight. I hope you have an excellent Sunday. Holy month of Ramadan as well, and everything from all of us here at WR, me, Shadi, all of us. We appreciate you so much. Have an awesome Sunday, and we will